So you want to have the education. You want to understand technical analysis. You want to understand the charts. What I tell everybody is this: the stock market is a love story if you turn it into a love story. I teach the entire stock market using R&B music, using a love story, and using your personal relationships. And I break it down and put it in the simplest forms. But you want to understand technical analysis. You want to understand the charts. But you really want to understand the story the market is telling. Because that story is a beautiful thing. It's like Romeo and Juliet. It's like a beautiful story. I'm telling you. We don't care if the market goes up or down. I wake up every single morning hoping the market goes straight down.
Wow.
Right? It's like, I call it, I think it was SWV. I call it kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You see what I'm saying? When it's puts time, when the market's just dropping straight down, you get into that stock and it just falls down. And you can make money because you're saying, I believe the stock price is going to decrease. So you're putting an option in. It's a put option to say the market is going down. I'm going to ride that wave down.
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video. All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Well, when you hear about wealth, people say that in order to build wealth, you can't just save your way to it, you have to invest. But with all of the different options of investing, what option is the best? You got stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, you got puts, calls. Well, this thing is getting confusing. Well, the stock market can be a confusing place to navigate. Even more confusing is trading what we call stock options. Our next guest figured out how to obtain wealth in the stock market while working full time. Now, as the founder of Stock Options 101, Chris Jackson is here to uncomplicate it for the people. Chris is on a mission to help others understand the stock market and achieve financial freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for my man, Chris Jackson. What's up,
Yes,
brother?
sir. How you doing? Hey, listen, I'm good. I'm glad to be here, man. I love it.
Yes,
I
sir.
love it. Let's
Yes, sir.
go. Let's go.
Yo, my goal with Inside the Vault was really about changing people's mindset, right? Because in the bank, the most valuable items are held inside the vault.
Right.
And as human beings or spiritual beings having a human experience, our most valuable item is inside here in the vault.
Right.
And one of the things we do is really just kind of help with the mindset, but also give practical ways that people could create generational wealth. I've been hearing about stock options for years.
Right.
And even as somebody, I was a banker for 15 years. Even for me, who I read P&Ls, I know about derivatives.
Right.
I'm like, yo, what? Hold on. And so, I'm glad you're here because you've, from people I've interviewed, I know, I had somebody that I know personally make $1 million in a couple of hours.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm
crazy.
like, yo, how does this even happen? And they did it with stock options. And so I know it's lucrative. I know
Right.
if you have the right coach, if you know which way to go, it could literally, build wealth for you quickly. And so I want you to explain stock options because you
Right.
do it in such a great way. But before we even go there,
Gotcha.
for those who don't know, who is Chris Jackson?
I'm Christopher Jackson. I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina, like 15 minutes outside of Charlotte. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 5. I'm a senior vice president of the Fortune 500 company. First and foremost, I'm a man of the Most High. But just to sum it up, that's it. That's who Chris Jackson is.
Yes, sir. And how did you get into options? Like, at what stage of the game did you say, yo, stock options is it? And this is what's going to give me that abundance financially.
Listen, I never knew what stock options were. I didn't know what the stock market was. Everybody know what the stock market was, but I wasn't playing in the stock market. Yeah. So one Valentine's Day, me and my wife went down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We were sitting at the bar having some food, and then somebody who worked at the hotel said, listen, we about to have this wine tasting. Do you want to come to it? So we said, yeah, we'll go to it. Another couple came down. He and his family was on vacation for 8 weeks. He was like, I've been on vacation for 8 weeks. Now, at that time, I'm like, shoot, I'm down here a weekend. I'm like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how in the world have you been here for 8 weeks on vacation, you and your whole family? So I had a trucking company at the time. So I said, let me throw some things in. I threw my trucking company at him. He didn't bite. I threw it that I wanted to do HVAC. He didn't bite. And then the couple we came down with said, hey, I want to learn about the stock market. For the next 3 hours, this man's face lit up. He talked to us about stock options and said he just made $1,000 before he came down here on Tesla. So I'm like, I don't know about that. You see what I'm saying? But he said, when you get home, give me a call, and I'm going to set your screen up for you. So as soon as I got home, I called him. He set my screen up for me, threw me in the ocean, said, go swim.
And so for like, you know, I don't even want you to explain it to me.
Gotcha.
Right? I got a 14-year-old daughter, man.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
You know, what is a stock option?
Gotcha.
14-year-old style.
So think about this. As a 14-year-old, this is how you understand stock options. Say you got a house that you're living in right now, right? And that house that you live in is worth $100,000. Okay, it's your Barbie house or whatever, right? It's worth $100,000. Someone is going to come to you and say, hey, listen, I will give you this $100,000 house for 2 weeks, and you only got to pay me $200 for it. But the catch is you have to sell it before those 2 weeks are out, or buy it for me when those 2 weeks are out. You can do whatever you want to with this house. You can have a house party, make money. You can throw it in the dirt, whatever you want to do. I don't care, as long as you either sell it or buy it from me for that price within 2 weeks. And that's it.
And so I'm still confused, brother.
Still confused.
Right? Because if my daughter somebody owns the house.
Yep.
They say, look, you could do whatever you want with the house. Just pay me $200, but you have to sell the house.
You have to sell the contract that you purchased. So you have to sell the house, basically, right?
Right.
By the 2 weeks, by the days the 2 weeks are out.
Yeah.
Or you have to buy the house. For example, what we do with options is we're not going to buy the house.
Right.
So we're going to take that house. I'm going to throw about 3 or 4 house parties. I'm going to have Ash Cash come host.
Yep.
We're going to flood the thing out. We're going to make a whole bunch of money at the door. And then we're going to make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 off the house. And then we're going to go sell it before it's time for us to buy before those 2 weeks are out.
And so really, if I understand you correctly, when you're trading stock options, you're technically trading stock that you don't actually own.
You're leasing it.
You're leasing stock.
Exactly.
You're betting on like you're betting on the highs, the lows.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing all these different things, and then from there, you have a contract with the person who actually owns it.
Exactly.
To give them some money or what they're asking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's and the thing like you just said, so when you actually buy the contract, now it's your contract for only that certain amount of time, right? So you don't own it, but you're leasing it, right? Like you lease a car or something that nature, right?
Yeah.
So you have it for that amount of time.
And so what are some of the risks that's involved with trading stock options?
So, for example, if I pay that $200 for that house, I'm risking that $200. I can't lose more than $200, right? But I can lose that $200, and I can lose that $200 faster than I could if I own the stock. Because if you own the stock, you don't lose until you actually sell it, right? But if I own that contract can go the opposite way, and I lose all of it before the 2 weeks are even out.
Got it. And then so what is the advantages of doing stock options opposed to why, you talked about the guy who made $1,000 off of Tesla. Like, why wouldn't I just buy Tesla directly? Or why wouldn't I just buy, Apple or GM or Facebook directly? Like, why stock options?
Like, for example, with stock options, you make the money faster. So, for example, hypothetically speaking, say Apple's worth $100, right? If I wanted to buy 100 shares of Apple, I'd be spending roughly around $10,000.
Yeah.
But if I want to buy 100 shares of Apple and hold it for a week or 2 or 3, 4 weeks, I may only spend $100. So it's a discounted rate, and you're getting the same return or more with you owning those 100 shares. So the discounted rate is just crazy.
All right, so when you say I'll get the same shit, I'll get the same uptick or more.
Yep.
So you're saying that if like let's use you and I, if I buy 100 shares of Apple directly, right, and I pay $10,000 for them, you traded stock options for Apple at $100, and you only spend $100 on it. We both in a way control, right, 100 shares of Apple.
Exactly.
Apple, does something spectacular. They come up with a new phone that gives you a hologram. Everybody is like, oh my God, this is crazy. Apple shares double. Apple shares go to 200. So now my $10,000 investment now just doubled to $20,000. What happens to your $100 investment?
That $100 goes up as well, right? So, for example, if Apple doubles this, if the stock just doubles out the blue, that $100 will even go farther than that your shares, because I have a thing called a delta, right? So a delta is, for example, if I get 100 shares of Apple with a 50-cent delta, that means I'm making 50 cents per dollar made. If the stock goes up, I get rewarded for me going in the right direction. So that 50-cent delta turns into a 60-cent delta, 70-cent delta, 80-cent delta. So I'm making more money as it goes. But when you get to a 100-cent delta, it maxes out there. So that means I'm getting every dollar on the dollar that's made.
Wow. And so now, because you made $100, you would make more than 100. So you
make way more. So it doesn't cap out at 100. So for example, like you said, I follow you now. So if you got $100 and it doubles, you don't just make $200 and stop. You can, that 100 can go to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can get a 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700% return on your investment based off of what the stock actually does.
Wow.
So it's almost like unlimited potential.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like unlimited potential.
Yeah. And then like is there like what type of education, like what do you have to know? Like, do you just have to wake up and watch CNBC Squawk Box and then now you're an expert? Like what type of education do you need to know?
You don't want to do that, because you'll be like me. When I first started, when he threw me in that water and said, go swim, I lost $62,000 starting off, right? So you want to have the education. You want to understand technical analysis. You want to understand the charts. What I tell everybody is this: the stock market is a love story if you turn it into a love story. I teach the entire stock market using R&B music, using a love story, and using your personal relationships, and I break it down and put it in the simplest forms. But you want to understand technical analysis, you want to understand the charts, but you really want to understand the story the market is telling, because that story is a beautiful thing. It's like Romeo and Juliet. It's like a beautiful story. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Give us an example of this story.
Okay, so for example, I use this thing called the 9 EMA and the 21 EMA. All right. So whenever the 9 EMA and the 21 EMA, I want to tell you what that is for a second. Think about Michael Jordan scoring points per game, right? So his first game he scored 30 points. Second game he scored 40. Third game he scored 50. There's a line that's going to start drawing, and you're going to get his points per average, right? So the 9 EMA is the Michael Jordan's last 9 games, his points per average, and it's just starting to draw a line. The 21 EMA is Michael Jordan's last 21 points per games, and it starts drawing a line. So think about if Michael Jordan scoring 20 points every single game. Both lines are going to be like this, right? So when it's like this, I call that dating. So think about when you're in a relationship and you're dating. You're just walking in the line. You're going to Netflix and chill, going to your favorite restaurants. Your best friend saying, "Oh, he's I love him. He's dope. He's the one for you." All that good stuff, right? You got the bubble guts in your stomach when you meet people, when you're going to get your girlfriend, make your hair straight, and all that stuff, right? And then in a relationship, when you start dating, that 9 EMA and 21 EMA still together. In a relationship, what does someone always ask? It's one question someone always asks in a relationship. What is that?
Are we serious? Or?
Booyah. There you go. Are we serious?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we, right?
Yeah.
So that non-EMA, if it goes up, we call that jagged edge. Meet me at the altar in your white dress. We're not getting the younger, might as well do it. Let's get married. You see what I'm saying? If that means we buy calls because the stock price is going up, right? If it goes down, we call that Chris Brown. It's never a right time to say goodbye. Like I made the first move because if I don't, you're gonna start hating me, and that's puts. That means the market is going down. Okay.
Right.
So that's the story we kind of tell. There's more pieces to it, but
Yeah.
when you understand that that's what the market is doing,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, and so and I love that, right? Because I got it. You know what I mean? I love that. And so if I understand correctly, as stocks are going up, you want to do what's called a call
option.
right? Because a call option. Because the price is going up, you want it. You want it to go up,
Exactly.
so you're calling it. You're like, yo, hey Ma, come in,
let's
right?
go.
So you're calling it, right? But if it's going down, you want to do a puts option, because it's going down and you're putting it away, if you will, right?
Yep, definitely. Yep.
But technically, though, you could win in both.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Meaning that just because you put a put on it doesn't mean that you're losing. You could actually win with stocks going down.
Exactly.
Explain that for me.
Like, so we don't care if the market goes up or down. I wake up every single morning hoping the market goes straight down.
Wow.
Right? It's like, I call it, I think it was SWV. I call it kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You see what I'm saying? When it's puts time, when the market is just dropping straight down, you get into that stock and it just falls down, and you can make money because you're saying, I believe the stock price is going to decrease. So you're putting an option in. It's a put option to say the market is going down. I'm going to ride that wave down, right? A call option, you believe the market is going to increase, going to go up in price. So you're buying a call option because that market is going to go up. That's why when people say, "Oh, the stock market is doing the worst ever," right?
Yeah.
The Dow Jones had the worst day ever. Somebody's over there saying, "Well, I had the best day ever." You see what I'm saying? Because we make money on it going up or down. Doesn't matter.
Wow. It's almost feel like CeeLo. You ever play CeeLo? You know CeeLo?
Yeah.
So it's like, this might be a better example for my hood people out here, right? Because it's like, if I got the bank and I'm rolling, well, I'm the actual stock because I got the bank and I'm rolling CeeLo. Well, there's people on the side doing side bets.
Yep.
They not actually in the game. So like if you got a stock option, you don't actually own the stock.
Yep.
Right? So you're not actually in the game, but you put a side bet.
Right.
Right? I bet 5, he 4 better.
Right.
Right? And so you on the side betting that the main guy with the bank is gonna 4 or better, which means, yo, I bet you he's gonna hit 4, 5, or 6. And so that's a call.
Got you. Going up because 4,
Going
5,
up.
6. Going
4,
up.
5,
Yep.
6.
Exactly.
Yo, I bet 5, he 4 better.
Exactly.
But then the person that bets against that he's going up,
there you go,
is putting a put because he's like, nah, watch his face when he ace.
Right.
Hit that one, and he's going to ace out.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's a put.
There you go. Exactly. It's the same thought process.
Yo.
Same thought process.
My guys, you know what I'm saying? Right? And so talk about that a little more about this concept of making money when the stock market is down. And the reason why I say that is because every day I turn on the news, all I hear is, bank CEOs, news anchors threatening that we're in a recession,
right?
We're hyperinflation. Buckle up. I heard prominent CEOs say, "Buckle up," because this year is gonna be one of them years. Some people are saying it's gonna be worse than 2008. If you know what 2008 brought, that was the Great Recession, where a lot of jobs were lost. It was a bad time, right? The housing market crashed. It was crazy times. As a investor, though, that don't matter to you.
It don't matter. To me, it does. For me, it does not matter.
Yeah.
The fact when all this negative news is just coming in, and that market is just, say for example, we're looking at Apple, and Apple's right here at $100. They say, no, I see Apple going at 100, 98, 95, 90, bounce back up to 92, go to 94, fall back down and fall to 85. When we're seeing those things, we're understanding the story. So when it's at 100, we're going down. If it goes down to 100 to 90, I may get from 100 to 95. I might get $5 of that $10 drop. That might garner me $1,000, $2,000, right? And then it bounced back up some, and then it comes back down again. It drops from 95 down to 85. I may get another 2,000. You don't have to get the whole piece of the pie. Just get a piece of the pie, right? But when you think about this recession, and most people that are like long-term holders, what they do is they use options to hedge their bets. So if I'm in an Apple call, right? If I buy an Apple, not even call, if I'm buying the actual stock of Apple, right? And my whole thing is I'm long-term, I hold Apple for 10 years. And then Apple just start falling. What people do is they start buying put options on Apple to hedge their bets from what they're losing, right?
Wait, that's game right there. I don't want to glaze over that. So, and this is really good because, and I wish I would have talked to you before because I ain't gonna say stock because I don't want people to think I'm giving them stock advice. But I had a stock recently lose like 25%, right? But I'm not gonna sell it,
right?
Because I already know, you know what I'm saying. Like it's all good,
right?
Like I already know it's gonna go back up,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not gonna sell it. But at the same time, if I knew about stock options, I could buy a put on that same stock. So while the stock is going down, I'm actually getting paid while I still own the stock.
Exactly.
Right? And then the great thing about it is that when the stock is going up, I'm still going to be appreciating that gain because I'm, owner of it. But if it continues to go down, I can just keep putting puts on it. And now I'm getting paid almost like 2 times.
Exactly, almost.
Right? Because if it goes back up, then I'll realize what I got from the put plus, the appreciation, the capital gains of it going back up. But if it continues to go down and eventually is out of here, it don't really matter because my goal is to keep putting puts on it to try to make back the money that I put in.
January 2022, the market started to, if you look at all of 2022, the market went straight down, right? So you got to think about some of your favorite stocks were up here at the end of 2021. 2022, they're down here now, right? The investor that said, okay, I know we going down, inflation going crazy, the feds have to get everything under control. Boom, they bought put options on that same exact Apple. They got put options on it, and they're riding the wave down. So what they're doing is they're minimizing their losses, right? And then what you do is once you start seeing, okay, you might hear everybody talking about, hey, is this the floor of the market? Have we hit the floor? They sell when it gets down to a low level, take the profit from the put options, right? And then what they do is you go and put that money and you buy back into the actual Apple stock at a lower price. So if you bought Apple at 100, it went down to 80. You buy in at 80. Now your average is 90. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's kind of how you can finesse the game, right?
I love that. And so like this seemed like a big dog game, right? Because I'm like, yo, this is what the Warren Buffett's big dogs do. How much money do you need to get into trading stock options?
It's not a big dog game. It's because you can start off with $1,000. You can start off with $1,000. The main thing is the money will come. You're going into a world that you never knew existed. Yeah. So when I say you're going into a world you never knew existed, you've been walking around your life for all your life. And you finna go into this, you finna transport into a world, and you go into that world every single morning, you seeing people making thousands, hundreds, thousands, some people 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 a day. Yeah. And you like, holy crap, where did this come from, right? So you go in with $1,000. If somebody make $20,000 and you just make $200, it's all good. You want to know why? Because if you can make $200, you can make $2,000. If you can make $2,000, you can make $4,000. As long as you understand the story of the market, you got to be in the game. It's crazy. Yeah. So start with $1,000. People say you got to start with $25,000. It's false. You do not have to do it. You can start with $500, $1,000, $200, whatever.
Wow. And then like now, you've made a lot of money stock options.
Yeah, I made some good money.
Yeah. And what's good money like?
So I'm over 6 figures, right? So like I said, this thing about it. I lost $62,000 when I first started. So I have to go through that stage of first, but the crap I'm doing, I lost $62,000. I got to get that $62,000 back. Right. Then I got to the next year making sure I practice risk management, risk and controls, the whole nine. 'Cause I come from corporate America, right? Boom, make money that year, made less than $100,000. Then boom, get into the $100,000 range, and you just want to keep it going, keep it going.
Wow. And so now, with your success and being up and learning this, you've decided to now teach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you started, a program. You have students. Talk to us about your program.
Yeah, so we have this. So we have a year-long coaching program where we trained over 1,000 people already, right? Yeah. But we have a year-long coaching program, and that coaching program we meet 6 days a week, right? 6 days a week. Me and my team show we trade live every day. We have coaching calls, we have counseling sessions, and we have market previews every Sunday, right? So 6 days a week, and what we do is I hold your hand through the whole process for a whole year. All right. It doesn't take a whole year. Yeah. It's I tell you 6 to 12 months you can change your life. Yeah. But I know when I first started, what I needed, I didn't have. So I hold people's hand through the entire process, walking them through step by step by step by step, because I understand the more time you spend with me and my team, the faster you're going to start having those $300, $400, $500, $1,000 days, $2,000 days, $3,000 days. They're all going to happen once you understand what you're doing. And I always go back to it, understanding the story that the market is telling you. Yeah. So I try to take you through that whole process.
Yeah, no, I love that, because I feel like, the best way to learn something is to learn it from somebody who's doing it with success. But then also you want to make sure that there's a level of experience, right? So the fact that you lost 62,000, so because it's not only about getting it right, you got to keep doing it till you can't get it wrong.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So now not only did you get it wrong, but you fixed it, and then now you're getting it right. You're at a space where you're an expert at this thing, and you're helping people kind of get to that next level. What is the first step though, right? Like if somebody was interested in stock options, like I definitely, we're going to talk about your 5-day challenge, because I think that's important, right? We talked about your program, but a lot of times, before somebody makes a large commitment, I don't know what the program costs, but a lot of times before people make a large commitment, my suggestion is always to, spend time with somebody, right? Get to know them, get to see if stock options are for you, right? And that's what I would suggest, anybody who is interested, right? They you've piqued their interest. You say, they're like, all right, I get it now. Right. Thank you, Ash, for that, the CeeLo option or the stock or the Barbie example, and you piqued their interest. But I would still say, because investments come with risk, you want to learn, how to kind of like get into it. So definitely, we'll give you an opportunity to join Chris's 5-day challenge in a second. But what is that first step, right? That person who's like, I want to get into stock options. Right. I got a couple of dollars. I got maybe $2,000, and I want to put this in stock options. Right. What would be that person's first, option?
So what I do is I tell people, listen, I'm an open book and I'm transparent. So I have I've created a $7 course. It's a $7 course that kind of give you what you getting into, right? It go in is real detail, right? It's a mini course, but every Wednesday, I trade live on YouTube. Every single Wednesday morning at 9:30 to 11 o'clock a.m., I trade live. So anybody who want to come on and watch, you can come on and watch. You're going to see me win. You're going to see me lose. You're going to see me happy. You're going to see me mad. I don't hide anything from you. And the reason why I do this is because I want you to understand and know what you're getting into can change your life if you understand what you're doing. So I go out there, I trade live every single Wednesday. I show on Instagram, and I post my wins, I post my losses. You might go to Instagram, you see me, I made $14,000 one day, but then you'll see I lost $10,000. I show everything because I'm gonna be transparent and tell you what you're getting into, right? This is not a fly-by thing that you're gonna make $1 million overnight. I mean, some people have did it, right? But it's possible, but you gotta learn first, right? But at the same time, if you put the work in, you're gonna start waking up every single morning and you're gonna be saying babyface.
Man. And then what's why do you believe, right, as a husband, as a father of, you said 5 children,
yeah,
right?
Well, one in the oven, so that'd be
congrats, brother.
Appreciate
congrats, you know what I mean? So as a father of 5, husband, like why is it so important to find to build wealth really, or use the stock market to build wealth?
Yeah. I said this previously. So this is why I tell people, right? This is why it's important. Because you have to look at yourself as a corporation. Yeah. Right? So your body, who you are, you're a corporation. Yeah. And inside that corporation, you got 24 shares inside this corporation, right? 8 of those shares go to sleep. Okay, so 8 of those shares automatically go to sleep so you can get rejuvenated and so on, right? Then you got 10 shares that you give to an organization, to a company, right? You work 8, but you got to get up an hour early, then you got to be in traffic for hours. That's 10 shares, okay? Then you have 6 hours left over, or 6 shares left over. If you got kids, they got practice, you got all these other things you got to do. So how much time do you have to actually build up who you are or build your wealth? You don't have much time. So everyone's goal should be getting those 10 shares back. Because right now, whoever that company who owns those 10 shares, they are the majority stakeholder in your organization. They control your life. Wow. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So the goal is to say, okay, I need to become the majority stakeholder of those 10 shares. So you have to go back in there and purchase 6 of those 10 shares back, which will make you the majority stakeholder. And when you gave them those 10 shares, they told you how much they was going to pay you for those 10 shares. If that job gave you $100,000 a year, they told you, hey, listen, I'm going to give you $100,000 for your 10 shares, the most valuable 10 shares of your life. They're going to give you $100,000 for it. They put a value on you, right? But if you take back 6 of those shares, guess what happened? Those 4 shares are still valued at $100,000. Right? So I tell people to take back control of your life by looking at yourself as a corporation, and you need to be the majority stakeholder of yourself.
Man, that was powerful, right? Because, one of the things that, if y'all didn't catch that, one of the things that, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your background, regardless of your talent, regardless of who you know,
right?
We all have the same 24 hours.
Exactly.
Right? And so if you didn't catch that, those shares are the hours that you have, right? And if we all have the same 24 hours, leveraging those 24 hours is about, changing our relationship with money. Exactly. Right? It's about not working hard for money, allowing money to work hard for you.
Exactly.
Right? And in fact, if you are skilled at learning how to make money work for you, then you technically could get more shares.
Exactly.
Right? Because at the end of the day, you're not exchanging your time for money.
Exactly.
Right? Money comes easily and frequently through the form of dividends, through the forms of your stock options, right? And so now, before where you had to put a quantity on your time, now there is no quantity. Now it's unlimited. Now you're literally using your brain. You're literally using the knowledge that you have and what you've acquired, right? To now, be the provider, if you will, which means that now you have more time that you can spend or invest the way you want to invest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's dope, man. It's really dope when you realize that I have to get some of my time back.
Yeah.
I mean, you should go. I mean, I remember I used to tell my wife, I feel like I'm chasing time. And it was the worst feeling in the world. I feel like I was chasing time because you're looking at everything around you. Everybody's getting older. Your kids growing up faster. And I feel like I'm chasing time and it's running. So when I started trading stock options, what I realized is when I used to work, I still work, but in my full-time job, I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning some days just to make sure this project was done for the bank or make sure this was done or this PowerPoint presentation was done. But then I started trading stock options. I realized I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I do. If it ain't done between 8 and 5, I get to it the next day. Yeah. I took back my time, and now it's the most beautiful thing you can do.
Yeah, and speaking of which, like, what is the average time that one spends, trading stock in order to, or stock options in order to be successful in it?
Yeah. So I try to trade at least 2 hours a day. My time, we're really from like 9:30 to 11:30, somewhere around there. I try to get my money then and then be done with it.
Wow.
If I can't, sometimes I may be longer because I get stuck into a trade. But for the most part, average 2 hours a day. But when you're first starting off, you got to go head first. Like it took over my life. I used to have my phone in my hand. I was sleeping, talking about calls and puts.
Wow.
My wife got a video of me sleeping. I'm in the bed talking about calls and puts. She's like, huh? I'm talking about calls and puts because it's going to take over your life because you're going to see the potential and the power of it. You're going to say, holy crap, nowhere in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you know, in the beginning, put some time in.
Yep.
Learn as much as you can.
Exactly.
And then as as you learn, as you get to that space of understanding of how to trade options, you now get to a space where you're only working about 2 hours a day.
Couple hours a day. Some people do it less than that. Some people do it an hour. Some people do 2 hours. Some people do 30 minutes. The guy that introduced me to it at Myrtle Beach, he says one of his best friends get into the market every morning at 9:30 and try to be done by 10.
Wow.
Like it's totally up to you, right? Wow. And then with the time thing, I tell people it's like a relationship, right? You should treat it like a relationship. When you first meet your significant other, you spending all that time, right? Boom, boom. You know, you on the phone, hanging up, you hang up, all these things, right? And then as you start learning and getting better and better and better, you understand, I don't have to be on the phone all day with you. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna go out and hang with the boys today, right? So the time commitment goes lower and lower, but the value and the love is still there for it.
And so what do you tell that person, right? So you said earlier, the stocks and the shares, 24 hours, right? Somebody right now, though, it's a real example, right? Somebody is working, and like 10 hours is generous.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha,
because, when I lived in New York, it took me about, I would get up at 6 a.m., and I didn't get back home till like 7.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm talking about 6 a.m. to get to work.
Yeah.
And then get to work, do work or whatever, and get back home at 7 p.m., So that, to me, if my math is right, that's 13 hours, bro.
That's about closer.
Right?
Closer,
and then when I get home, I'm tired, right? And so even though I try to, do things with the kids or whatever the case may be, but I'm so exhausted.
Right.
And so literally in my mind, there were times where I feel like I ain't have no time to do this, right? So how would you suggest somebody who has that, perceived limited time, to go about, starting and getting into stock options?
Honestly, what I would say is it's going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I say it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because your mindset, right? I call it chitlins, right? Me and my partner Snoop, we call it the chitlin mindset, right? And I'm kind of touch on this first. So the chitlin mindset, if we go back and understand how people start eating chitlins back in those slavery days, where they would throw the pig intestine outside, and then the slaves would go pick up the intestines, clean and all that stuff, right? Yeah. So, and they were eating that because they were trying to survive. Working 13, 14 hours a day, you're trying to survive, right? You're not living yet, you're surviving, okay? So when you realize that there's a whole other animal over there, and it got some great pieces to it, you don't have to put out the intestines, the nasty stuff in the intestines, and you can have the best of the best. When you change your mindset and say, okay, listen, I'm not going to have that chitlins mindset anymore where I'm just going to get the leftovers. I'm going to get the best of the best of the best of the best, right? That's when you're going to realize these 13 hours that this job have, I'm going to duplicate myself. So inside of these 13 hours, I'm going to be doing something else that's going to generate me income, right? So if you have to have your headphones in your ear, listening to a lesson, right? On your lunchtime, on your break time, whatever you have to do, you got to do it. If you have to come home at night and put everybody to sleep, and you wake up at 2, 3 in the morning and just focus in on what you got to do, you got to do whatever you got to do to make sure that you are not sitting there eating chitlins for the rest of your life, and that you're going to get the best of the best because you deserve it. And if you deserve something, you got to do whatever you need to do to make sure you get it done. So it's not really necessarily because you can't get no more time back. You just got to set up in your mind that I'm going to go out there and do it. Because with me, for example, I got kids, wife, working, like you say, the traffic up and down. Man, I was up at 2, 3 in the morning because I couldn't sleep because I saw the potential of it, right? I couldn't sleep because I was uncomfortable in my household knowing my bills due, and I'm living paycheck to paycheck. That's uncomfortable. Why I'm sleeping? Like it's really that deep. It's a mindset. You got to get those chitlins out your mind.
them nasty chitlins.
Gotta go,
Gotta
man.
get them nasty chitlins. Look, that nasty mindset that's making excuses. That nasty mindset that is uncomfortable, but you still trying to make excuses for your uncomfortability. That nasty mindset that's living paycheck to paycheck, but you know that abundance is your birthright. That nasty mindset that knows that you could be, do, or have anything you put your mind to, so you not ready to get rid of that nasty. You gotta get rid of that nasty mindset.
Let's go. Let's go. Yes.
Talk to me about your 5-day challenge, because I definitely want everybody to tap in with you. I think that again, the first stage of changing that nasty mindset. I'm sorry, but the first stage of changing your mindset is really just getting to that space where you're just learning something new, right? And so talk a little bit about your 5-day challenge and those who take the opportunity to work with you. What would they be getting?
Yep. So this is it's called a challenge, it's like a mastermind, right? Yeah. This is the thing about it is I'm teaching you everything you need to know from A to Z as a beginner, all the way to the end, everything that I use. The greatest thing about it, you get the recordings, unlimited access to the recording as well, right? So you know how some people have challenges, they come into the challenge, they'll say, okay, they don't act like they teach you this and the third. No, I'm literally spending this time with you, me and my team, every single day for 5 days. We're trading in the market in the morning, and then we're having 3-hour coaching sessions at the end of the night. So you're spending the whole day with me, right?
Wow.
For the most part. You see what I'm saying? So it's virtual, it's crazy, but the thing about it is what I tell people, I'm not gonna keep anything from you. Right? And the reason why I'm not gonna keep anything from you is because I understand abundance is your birthright. And I know when I look back at my life a couple years ago, or 3-4 years ago, and I saw paycheck to paycheck, we having to put my wife's car on to get a loan off of my wife's car to pay our down payment for our house we trying to get. All these things, and now I see where I'm at right now. I'm gonna show you what a candlestick is, all the way to what supply and demand structure and all these things, so you can start making hundreds to $200, $300 to $1,000 days in this 5-day mastermind. I'm not holding nothing.
Wow. And so like literally A to Z.
A to Z. We going through the whole thing. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm gonna stop right here." No, listen, I'm giving you everything. Then when I give you everything, I'm gonna let you keep the recording so you can watch them whenever you want to watch them. That's how we doing it. We going above and beyond.
And I saw a stat recently, and I just pulled it up. It says 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and this is a new study, right? This is a new study, and they said that as the cost of living in 2022, right, was surging and going up, the number of Americans living paycheck to paycheck jumped to 64% as of December, right? That means that for every 100 people, 64 of them are living paycheck to paycheck, are one mistake away, one tragedy, one sick day away from not being able to pay their bills. And that's all Americans. I'm talking about 64% of all Americans, right? And I believe, let me just try to find this other stat, that there were like 40% that 42% make over 6 figures.
Wow. It's crazy, right? And people think oh, let me just get to 100.
Let me just get money. Right.
It's not that.
Right.
Like my career is in risk and controls, right? So the bank, like you work in the bank, the bank makes money. They bring money in. But behind all the money, the things that bring in revenue to the bank, you have this group back there called risk management. Right? Your risk and controls, what are they aligned in your life? You see what I'm saying? Because you live in paycheck to paycheck is a reason. You see what I'm saying? So even when we trade stock options, my stock option style is I use risk and controls for everything, risk management, and that kind of helps me out a lot. But that's crazy.
All right, y'all. Listen, man. And the reason why I pulled up that stat was because I feel like people need to know that, number one, you have to. I don't care who you are. You have to be looking for multiple streams of income.
You have to.
Period. Right? If you don't have multiple streams of income, you are literally committing financial suicide. Like that, you are allowing your well-being to be in the hands of somebody else. Like you do not control your well-being if the only way you make money is one way. Right. And so you have to have multiple streams of income. And so when you hear stats, right, you can look it up. Just Google, put 64% and type in paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
You will see, right, the report by CNBC that talks about 64% of people living paycheck to paycheck. 42% of those people make six figures or more. It's really about, making sure that you have multiple streams of income.
Right.
And so make sure y'all tap in with Chris so he can show you, right? For 5 days. It ain't even a challenge. It's a masterclass, right?
Yep.
It's a masterclass where he's gonna show you for 5 days everything. You're gonna spend time with him. You're gonna see how he's trading. You're gonna get recordings, and so you're gonna get a option, to create, multiple streams of income. I put the link in the description below, but you can also go to InsideStockOptions.com. That's InsideStockOptions.com. Any last advice, though, right, for our insiders out there who, they just trying to figure it out, man. They're trying to figure it out. They want to get their life to the next level. You're somebody who has made some made some mistakes, but you made some wise decisions that are putting you in the next level, next space in your life. So what advice do you have for our insiders?
Yeah. So what I would say is this: become a Joshua, right? Become a Joshua. And people are like, what does that mean, right? I tell people that I am Joshua, right? So this is what it means. If you think about, I'm going to go biblical for a second, right? Think about biblical times with the children of Israel. They were in Egypt. They was in captivity, right? And the children of Israel cried out to the Most High saying, help us, get us out of here, right? Yeah. So the Most High sent Moses to take the children of Israel out of their land of captivity into the promised land. But what we fail to realize is Moses did not take the children of Israel into the promised land. He died before it was completed. Joshua was charged with taking the children of Israel out of their captivity, out of the wilderness into the promised land. Same thing for now. Martin Luther King did a great job. Malcolm X did a great job, but they didn't get the job done. Our great-great-grandparents did a great job, but they didn't get the job done. Our parents did a great job, but they didn't get the job done. They didn't get the job done to take us from our land of captivity that we live in into the promised land because they had a lack of knowledge. Right now, we have abundance of knowledge. So your job is to take your family, your grandmother, your mama, your dad, your niece, your nephews, out of this land of captivity where they wake up every morning living paycheck to paycheck, part of that 64%, not knowing exactly what's going on in life, not knowing if they're going to be able to have college tuition, not knowing if they're going to start a business and all these things. It's your job to take them out of their land of captivity into the promised land. So this knowledge that Ash Cash kicking, the knowledge that I'm kicking, you take this knowledge and you change your family's life by taking them into the promised land because that promised land is flowing with milk and honey. So you have to get there. There's no more excuses. Grandma had an excuse. Great-great-great-great-granddaddy had an excuse. Mama had an excuse. You do not have an excuse. Get into that promised land. Become a Joshua.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic, y'all. Listen, I need y'all to tap in. Hit the description below. Tap in with my guy, Chris Jackson. Make sure you go to InsideStockOptions.com. Spend 5 days with him, right? Get some of that inspiration. Get some of these bars. Get some of that R&B. You know what I'm saying? If people wanted to connect with you, where can they find you?
But you can find me on Instagram at CJack130. CJack130. As soon as you start following me, you're going to get about 15 other people start DMing you. That's not me, okay? But CJack130 on Instagram. You can also go to my YouTube channel. It's, I think it's Christopher Jackson Stock Options 101.
All right, y'all. There you have it, y'all. We are closing out the vault. Another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. Listen, we just gave you Stock Options 101. If you was confused, then use this episode as an example. If you're still confused, or even if you're not confused, if you get it, I still need you to join Chris, his Masterclass 5 days. Hit the link in the description or go to InsideStockOptions.com. Follow the show. Go to InsideTheVaultShow.com. I need you to rate it. I need you to review it. I need you to subscribe on all platforms. Visit us on all social media platforms at Inside the Vault. Me, I am Ash Cash. Make sure you visit me, IamAshCash.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. And listen, make sure y'all join the abundance community. We got a thriving group that understands that abundance is their birthright. We mastermind every single week. We share ideas. I'm in there weekly. There's courses, there's programs, there's even behind the scenes footage and gems, everything that you need to get your mind and your money right, to elevate your life and elevate your whole mindset. So make sure you go to theabundancecommunity.org. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for making Inside the Vault the greatest money mindset show on the planet. I'll see you next time, same place, in God's will. All right, y'all. Peace.